guys, what's going on? Love Them Knives channel, and we have a knife from Kubey. It's been a little while since I've done a Kubey, and that's unfortunate because they're come out with it. They're always coming out with new models, really interesting stuff, really good collaborative designers that are helping them. So, got some interesting stuff. This one is called the Interflow. Now it's the KB294, and this is Charlie because it's black, right? But that's the variant. You can get it in blue, you can get it in blue, okay? You can get it in gray with blue, hardware accents and stuff, okay? And they run supposedly at 220, but that's not really how it all necessarily shakes out, because if you look at the White Mountain Knives listing, it's 176, and then LTK discount code will take you down to 158. So be not depressed about 220 when you can get it for 158. Okay, and there's other retailers. Okay, I've just got a discount code from White Mountain for 10%, and I know they don't charge shipping or taxes. So I mean, 158 for this knife, not a 200 and some dollar knife in reality. And here's your 8.1 3.5-inch blade, 8.1 overall length, M390 titanium titanium tanto compound grind. Okay, because it looks like what we got here is a hollow grind, and then we come up here to a flat grind. And this is Jim Lowe, or James Lowe in Australia, that has designed this knife, and he's designing knives for others like Bestech, like Shieldon, and others. So this is the Interflow, and I think it looks really good. I like the design look of it, and I'm not a big Tanto fan, but this, it just depends, right? It depends on the design that you're looking at, whether Tanto really turns you on or not. And this one is nice, and it's not a real harsh Tanto. Isn't that what they call kind of more like a Japanese Tanto look to it, the way this curves here and on down, not an absolute jag angle here on this Tanto. So yeah, it kind of mellows it out. And it's got this swedge up here. It's got dual thumb studs, okay, ambidextrous there. And it's got a thumb ramp of sorts that's jimped. So that's good, okay. And then, of course, as you notice right off the bat, it's a frag pattern here. Let's see what the lockup is. It's about 30%, isn't it? That's all right. They got the Kubey on here, but then they also got the KB here, which means if you're going to disassemble this, which we will do, we start here at the back, obviously. And you got a titanium pocket clip, which is pretty subdued. Nothing crazy or outrageous there. And you have a backspacer, nothing crazy or, specialty, grooved or crosshatched or anything there. And then you've got a little lanyard pin there, okay? And then that backspacer rolls around, and then, of course, they mill out this little section here so they could put the lanyard pin in that area. And otherwise, this is a satin grind. Nice looking. And the eternal question, will the knife be a knife? Okay, the M390 blade, okay. And it looks good. Looks good. Now, comes in this kind of a box, which has got, an outer sleeve. Of course, there's the inner box, and Let's drop this baby out if we can. It's kind of nice when you got little, the little round cutaways on the sides, because it keeps you from having to go insane to try and open this up. And it's like, because there's no weight in here now with the knife out and trying to drop it. Sometimes they come pretty easy and sometimes they're stubborn like this. Okay, here's the plastic, and it comes sealed in this plastic here. I cut the tab off, but they're sealed like that, right? And there's the piece that I cut off. I keep everything. Microfiber cloth and the little piece of paper from the manufacturer, etc., etc. And so, M390 frag tie. Hey, don't forget that the nub. Okay, the frag tie, and all that. Nice full size knife, 8 inches overall length. 8.1 is what they're saying. So let's just take a real quick reading on it. Yeah, that's 3.5 inches at 90 millimeters, and yeah, just a smidge over 8. Okay, at not quite 20.5 centimeters, 20.4 maybe centimeters. Okay, now what kind of blade stock we got on here, and I don't know. 0.14, so it's a little heavier than what kind of runs out there mostly these days. 3.5 millimeter blade stock, that's pretty hardy. 12.7 millimeter overall thickness at 1/2 inch. So, yeah, I mean, this is not a little 0.45 or something like that. So it's got a little bit more to it, but not exactly fat. And the blade stock, it's not 4 millimeter, but it's 3.5. So that's pretty sturdy, pretty stout right there. Okay. So it seems to be a lot of things going for this, including the fact that, it looks pretty good. It's got a nice design flow to it. And check this out, this underside here. I mean, that's nice because when you grab it, it's just very, very neutral. It's very easy to grab and hold on to. Can you come up here? I wouldn't recommend it. It's just not enough of a choil to really feel comfortable getting up there. But you're pretty close to really just being up on that blade anyhow when you're holding it. So that's good. And yeah, reverse grip is good. Here's your pass through for disengaging the titanium frame lock, and that's pretty easy. And the other thing that makes this so fidget friendly really is the fact that when you disengage this, that flipper tab hits you in the thumb. It's already over the detent ball, right? And so there she drops, and it's centered. There's no rock lock, there's no, or lock rock, or blade play, any of that kind of stuff going on. So, no, it's good, and like I said, it's centered, so it's solid. Kind of nice with the black and then the gold accents. It kind of sets it off, really. So, one component we haven't even talked about is the weight. And let's check it out. Well, it's not a lightweight, and it does feel substantial in the hands. It's 133 grams. That's pretty good. A lot of stuff is under 100 grams. The super lightweight stuff. This is 4.68 ounces. That's not heavy. 6 ounces starts to get a little crazy, right? But, and 3 is pretty nice and easy just to float around with. But 4.6, my paramilitary 2 here is 3.8. So, okay, it's a little bit heavier than that. And even than my Mannix, of course, it's 2.88. But this is the lightweight, right? This is those FRN scales or whatever they call them. And so, yeah, that's the Salt series with the Magna Cut. And, compare, I believe they shouldn't be too far off with each other on size, on overall, and they aren't. Okay? So that's the Manix 2 with all kinds of, I didn't wipe the blade off all that well. But I'm glad to have this because Magna Cut, yeah, it's the Salt series thing. We'll find out. Southern Florida will let me know whether this is going to stay corrosion free or not. But you know what? M390 at 19 to 20% chromium, like this, should take a bit to try and mess this up too. I mean, that's a lot of chromium in there. It should be pretty corrosion resistant. But nice hollow grind, compound grind, tanto, thumb ramp, substantial blade stock, and the feel 4.68, 4.6, 4.5, whatever you want to, generalize it at. But that's not bad. That's not overly heavy. And it's something that makes you feel like you got something in your hands, okay? And it's good with the ergos as well. There's your drop. I haven't put a Torx or anything to here to mess with the tension on the pivot. This is the way it just came. Okay. And this has been out for a little while. I've had this for several weeks, at least, maybe a month, and have not put it up on I don't know. I just haven't got around to it. But it feels good in the hand, and I like the design. So, yeah, it's a good one from Kubey. And Kubey's got a lot that's pretty damn good that they've come out with recently. So, check their site out. And also know that I think Blade HQ is carrying them too, but I know White Mountain is. And then, of course, right on the Kubey site. And there's another site as well, and I can't remember the name of it right now, that carries a bunch of Kubey knives too. I'll try and put that information down below as well so you can check it out. But, for the price, not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Yeah, that's a nice drop. It feels nice. It feels kind of more like a velvety, not a real, and there's no gritty feel to that. No, not at all. And really, this kind of drop is more my style than just overly guillotine-ish. You know what I'm saying? Detent. Okay, I can snap it there, but that's the way. If they're really tough, this is the only way you're going to get them out. So this way, it ain't coming out. So it's detent's firm enough. It doesn't need to be any more firm than this. I tried to fail it, but it opened. So it's holding. Okay, I failed it. But yeah, it's just where it needs to be. Feels really good. Now, what do you say we just take a peek inside of the Kubey Interflow and see where we go with the flow? You want to go with the flow, don't you? Got to go with the flow. Now, do we got number 8s? Oh, we do. Mr. Jimmy Lowe, the designer from Australia. He got this one figured out pretty good. So, one thing to be the designer, another thing to be able to have the manufacturer really get what you're trying to do, get it faithfully converted. And this one looks like they probably did a good job. Last I messaged with him, he didn't even have one of these in hand yet. So that's unfortunate. How did I get one before he got one? That's because I live in the USA, and they were out. I mean, they were out with White Mountain and all that. So, okay. Here's the pocket clip with two different length screws, and probably for a reason is because the one pocket clip screw like that, and there's for your lanyard, goes here. So it goes through here. So yeah, that's why it's longer. And then of course you see here on the lock side, you get a hardened steel insert. Of course, I know it gets a little boring after a while. I keep doing this, but, and then ceramic detamp ball over travel stop. And then you've got this little washer in here, like yay, right? Okay, so all that goodness here and nice pocketed. So we are reducing the weight, or we're trying to. And here's the bearings, okay, ceramic bearings, both sides. And then pocketed here for weight reduction. Titanium, back spacer. And then here's the head, and aha. See, you see the little lump here, even though it's kind of oily here, but we'll wipe that down. But there's the little lumpity bump that goes with this right here that keeps this correctly oriented and also keeps the pivot from spinning. And you know what, guys? That wasn't terribly difficult, but there's your disassembly. And we're back with the Interflow. What do you think? I think it's a great looking design here. This is not too big, not too small. Hefty, but not heavy. And a great design. I think this should be pretty popular out there, actually. And, good price. Take advantage of 10% off on White Mountain. I mean, full on is $220, but then 176 is minimum advertised price, and then 10% below that, 158. I think you're getting some goods for that. That's not bad at all. So check it out. See what you think. But there she is, the Interflow by James Lowe and Kubey. And you guys, stay sharp.